Hi, this is Lloyd Long from L&M Gardens, and today we want to talk to you about maintaining your plants. Can you prune your plants? How do you pull the dead flowers off? What do you do if you get dead stalks? Well, we want to go into that a little bit and try to help you understand that. So let's get started. One of the things that you sometimes run into when you buy a hanging basket or you buy a planter that is already made up for you at our store, or maybe you bought it somewhere else. Sometimes when it grows out, you look at it and think, well, I don't really like how this is growing. This vine is nice, but it's taken over the plant, and I really like these geraniums, but it looks like they're not showing up as much. So let's take care of that problem. Let's say that you'd say, well, let's get rid of this vine right here. So if you have a pair of pruners, we just have a regular pair of fiskars right here. You can use scissors, whatever, but make sure they're sharp so that you don't actually pull the plant as you're cutting it. Go right down in here to where you can see the farthest point down here of this vine, and get them up here where you can get them and see them, and just cut one at a time and trim them out of there. Now, you're not hurting your plant at all, but what you're doing is, we call it giving it a haircut. That's the big joke at L&M Gardens. When we trim plants, we give it a haircut. So you just trim these out of there and do it one at a time so that you don't accidentally cut into your geranium and you're really sad because you cut a big hunk of your blooming plant out of there. So once you've done this, we won't spend all day doing this, you will have most of this cut out of there, and then the geranium itself will start to get bigger. It will take over and it will dominate because it already has a head start on your vine. We've cut some of this vine out of here now to show you how to prune that out. Now you're going to see it's going to be a little bare. That will eventually fill in, and this is a time too where you're going to have to probably fertilize a little bit more, like we talked about in our other video. Well, let's look at some of these flowers in here. We got some that we call have dead heads on them, and basically that bloom has already bloomed. It's not going to bloom again. So how do you maintain that? Well, what we do is we go right in here and we come back as far as we can go, and we pinch those off. And once you pinch those off, it's called cleaning your plant. So we're cleaning our plant, we're getting those off, and what that will allow to happen is new blooms to come on, plus it makes your plant look better. So once we've done all that, you see here there's some brown leaves from that vine laying all over them. You go in here and you pull those brown leaves off. So why do we go in there and we pinch the flower back as far as we can? Well, if you don't, all of a sudden you end up with all these little stems sticking up like this, and it doesn't look very attractive. So we just recommend you get down in there and you just trim them back as far as you can. Now, you don't have to pinch it like I'm doing with my thumb. You can use your trimmers to do it. I like to use my fingers because I like to feel how far back I am and feel where that point is where I need to stop. So that works really well for me. Again, you could use your trimmers if you'd like to. But on a geranium like this, they're really the lowest maintenance plant you will have to take care of, because all you do is pull the dead heads off usually, and you move on your way and you keep watering and fertilizing, and they're going to continue to put out good blooms. Okay, we talked about deadheading the geraniums. We're going to look at a petunia now. The trailing petunia is a very durable plant. It's probably one of the fastest growing plants as far as getting long that you will get from us at L&M Gardens, or maybe any other place. You can see how long this one has gotten. But sometimes when they get that long, they tend to get what we call a hole in them up here at the top. They may have gotten too much water. Let's say we had about a week of rain where it got 3 inches of water and then it got really hot. Sometimes you'll get places in here that start to die. I think that's what's happened with this one. We borrowed this from someone, and it's been too wet. As a matter of fact, it's pretty wet right now. So what do you do with something like this? Do you say, you know what, I'm done with this, I want to throw it away? Well, we're going to show you some things you can do with it that can prolong it, and that will also help fill this back out in the middle. We'll take our trimmers again, and as long as this is, let's pick a starting point in here, and let's go halfway up on this thing and start trimming. Now I know this probably goes completely against everything you think, because you wanted this really big plant, and we have that really big plant, but we're not really going to hurt the integrity of the plant at all. And when you get down in here, you'll also see that we have some dead plants underneath there, because it has gotten so long that everything that is underneath there has started to turn brown and die. So we're going to trim that out as well. Again, we're giving it the haircut that we call it at L&M Gardens. So we're going to try to be pretty uniform. I like to be uniform across here. I like to get it about the same length all the way across. And we do this at some of the places that the businesses that have our plants too, that we've taken plants to. We'll go in and we will trim them back for them, and we will get them to the point where it looks like they just bought a new plant again. So basically what we're doing now, we're getting all that dead brown stuff out from underneath there, as well as we're cutting this and shaping it up a little bit so it doesn't look so long and look so what we call leggy. And again, you can see this brown that's in here now. And there's no, you don't have to feel like you have to be a beautician to do this, or have a degree in horticulture. You're just giving it a haircut, okay? So rather than do the whole plant right at the moment, I'm going to kind of show you what we've done here. We've come in and we've trimmed this up and we've shaped it a little bit. Now, we may have done that to shape it, but here's what it's going to do. It's going to force new blooms to come out of the middle here, and it's going to come up more in a tight ball again like it did when you bought it originally. So trimming your plants is good. I've trimmed some of my plants twice already this year, and I may trim them again before we get a freeze in November. My goal with all my plants is to get them to last until we have a freeze. I don't like to replace them. I like to keep them going and have them look as beautiful when it comes fall time as they did in June. So another thing here you'll see too, you'll see some brown up in here. Now that's a little more difficult to deal with. When you get this brown in here, you basically have to do a little surgery. You have to be able to reach down in here, and a lot of times it'll just come out. You see how it just comes out of there and it's just breaking off, because those are just dead branches. So if you can pull them out, now I know it takes a little time, but if you can pull those out of there, then you're going to clean this thing up to the point where it's starting to look new again. And as the new plants start growing out of the center here, that hole and that brown will all be gone, and you'll have a nice new ball again. Here's some flowers on the petunia that are basically dead. So it's real simple to get rid of them. Just reach down here and pinch them off. Kind of like we did at the geranium. Just pinch that thing off there. Not very many of them, but there are a few, and that's just part of the maintenance process to get some of that brown out of there. Here's a basket that I have trimmed twice already this year. This is licorice right here, and it is very aggressive. It's a beautiful thing to put in with your plants. It adds a good accent to it. But my plant, this is a bonfire begonia. It's got beautiful orange type flowers on it. This was taking over, and all you could see was the licorice. So what I did was kind of like we did with the geranium earlier. I went in here and I trimmed the licorice back as far as I could all the way around, so that this bonfire begonia could start to get aggressive and get out there and you could see more of the color. And I've done that twice already, and you can see that we're starting to get a lot more of that orange color showing up. So my goal again is for this plant to make it until we have a freeze. Thanks for watching this video today. We hope that we've kind of given you some real easy tips on how to maintain your plants, how to clean them, how to deadhead them, how to give them a haircut. If you ever have any questions about any of this stuff, please feel free to contact us at L&M Gardens.